Hey there, welcome to Takeaway with Sam Okus, a podcast from Nation's Restaurant News. I am Sam Okus, editor-in-chief here at NRN, and this is the show where I offer you an all-access pass to the restaurant industry's most influential decision makers. This week, I'm talking with Jody Boyce, the Chief Marketing Officer for Teriyaki Madness. This 155-unit fast casual serving made-to-order bowls is quickly growing around the country, and it recently launched a new curbside pickup platform called Mad Dash that's designed to boost guest frequency through a more efficient customer experience. Jody joined the podcast to talk about the newfound potential in curbside pickup and how it's helping Teriyaki Madness avoid discounting as it looks to drive more traffic to stores. In this interview, you will learn more about why curbside pickup is a perfectly suitable alternative to drive-thru, how technology makes curbside far faster and more efficient than drive-thru, and why frequency, not discounting, is the right tool to help you weather economic woes. Jumping now into my interview with Teriyaki Madness's Jody Boyce. Also, don't forget to stick around after the interview as I will share my 6 takeaways from this discussion, actionable insights that you can take with you on the go. Okay, I'm sitting down with Jody Boyce, the Chief Marketing Officer for Teriyaki Madness. Jody, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Jody, I think probably, I believe I've spoken with Michael on this podcast before, but for the sake of anybody who maybe isn't familiar with Teriyaki Madness, what's the 30-second pitch on this brand and what it's all about?
Yeah, we are a fast casual brand, and we serve huge bowls of fresh marinated grilled chicken, steak, tofu, and salmon, and then it's over rice, noodles, and always fresh veggies. So it's really fresh food. It's really good. Also happens to be a little bit on the healthier side, and we've got 155 locations, and we're growing like crazy.
So you and I are going to talk specifically about off-premises business, how that's kind of worked into your marketing program too. But just to get a lay of the land, again, off-premises, I mean, Teriyaki Madness, you guys are a fast casual, so I'm sure off-premises has been big for you from day one, and I'm sure it's been really important for you, especially the last 4 or 5 years. But to get a lay of the land, give us the scope of how much off-premises matters to the Teriyaki Madness business.
It's huge for us. So even prior to COVID, we were already doing about 70% of our food was going out the door, whether it was takeout or pickup or delivery or catering. After COVID, we actually settled a little over 80%.
So when it comes to innovation, I'm sure operational innovation, but even marketing innovation, are you guys just constantly thinking about your product in off-premises channels as far as it comes to innovation?
We are, and it's really about how to improve the customer experience too. So how to get that food ordered faster, and then get it in your hands faster and just easy. It's all about convenience. That part we were already working on again pre-COVID, but then the demand for it increased, and it certainly never went away. So we're always trying to find the next piece of technology that's going to assist with that.
So if I'm a Teriyaki Madness customer, which by the way, I do have one about 5 minutes from my house, so which is great, very happy customer here. But for any customer who is ordering off premises in particular, you mentioned that experience. Walk me through what that experience is. Is it app based? Is it what does all that look like?
We try to have actually several avenues for people to order, so that we just make it as easy as possible for what that person's preference is. So we do have our app, which is all integrated with third-party delivery. So you can still get your food delivered, and it's still delivered by DoorDash or Uber Eats. And the other is that you can still order through our app. You can order online. You can order for pickup, delivery, and our newest, which is our Mad Dash Curbside program. Lots of ways to order. You can order through the third-party delivery companies as well. That's all routed and directly integrated with our systems.
So Mad Dash, you brought that up. That's really why we're here today. I'm very interested to learn more about this Mad Dash. Tell me more about this program that is new. What's it all about?
Sure. So again, before COVID, we were very driven by technology, especially for a small company. We did invest a lot in integrating our systems. We were probably about 3 years ahead of other brands. And then when the pandemic hit, we I think a lot of the brands caught up. They had to. Everyone was kind of forced to. So we looked at what's next. What do we need to do next? And a lot of brands in fast casual were starting to move towards drive-thrus. Well, our food is fresh. It's made to order. It's customizable. It just doesn't lend well to a traditional drive-thru. And so we're putting a lot of our efforts into bringing curbside back. And curbside, we didn't even have before the pandemic. We did add it. I think as an industry, curbside kind of went away a little bit in the last couple of years, but through the technology that we've added, we created this program called Mad Dash. And the technology is integrated into our app, and it tracks customers after they order for Mad Dash curbside. It tracks their phone through GPS tracking. And so we know exactly when they're arriving. And our whole goal is to literally be standing on the curb about 10 seconds before the customer arrives. So they'll literally just need to slow down, grab their food, and they're on their way. So it's faster than a drive-thru.
So you're recruiting baseball players to be your employees to toss it in the window just so they don't even have to stop.
Actually, it's funny. We just did a promotion using a partnership with Sydney LaRue, who's a professional soccer player.
Oh, yeah.
She's a single mom, has 2 little kids. She's obviously, always on the go with soccer practice and games. And so she loves the program, and we did a fun video of her driving quickly and getting food to go.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the GPS element of this, and it's interesting because I don't know if this is officially like geofencing. I mean, this technology has been around for a while, but it feels like, when you said that, I immediately thought of, I do this with Target all the time. Target and Kroger. Yeah. I'm on my way. I show up. I'm here. This is the parking space I'm in. Tell me how this works for Teriyaki Madness. Is it similar to that?
This is like a step up from that. So there's geofencing, which puts a circle, a fence around the area. And when someone drives into that area, it alerts the location. GPS tracking is literally down to the exact location of the car. So the situation you're talking about, you are informing the Kroger's, whoever it is, Target, that you're on your way. This technology takes that piece out for customers. They don't even have to. As long as they have their they allow tracking. We know when they're 2 minutes away, and we know when they've driven into the shop. And it's so precise, we can see on our screens in the shop what parking spot they're in, if they even have the park. So, so it just kind of takes that whole geofencing and takes it up one more level.
Right. So are they, like, when they complete the order and they're opting in, I imagine, right? Because they're saying, I want to do curbside. So in that moment, is that when they give you permission to do that? Because I imagine that might spook a few people.
Yeah, it's creepy, but it's great. We have actually a 97% engagement rate, meaning 97% of the people who are ordering curbside are allowing the tracking. So yeah, it is something when you first download any app, it asks you, and so you can either set it then to allow tracking while I'm using the app, or all the time, or never. And so if the person already had the app, they can go back in and change their settings if they had said, don't track me before. And it's going to be a learning curve, as we kind of train consumers over the next year or two on using it.
Well, that's why it feels like, again, with some of these businesses like Target or any number of these major retailers doing this, I mean, it's like they've kind of paved the way for you, right? Because I don't bat an eye when an app asks me for this now. Maybe 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, that's kind of weird. They're just watching me. But anymore, isn't it just seem like consumers are eager to do this if it makes their experience easier?
Yeah, and we look at it like third-party delivery. I started at Catering 8 years ago, and it took us, we jumped in right away with third-party delivery, and we worked with all the partners, and we decided, let's just figure this out as we go. We're glad we did, because now we have a profitable business model with it. But it took probably 3 years for the industry and consumers to trust it and to accept it, and for older consumers to go and actually try delivery. So it did take some training, and we're looking at it just like that. This is just the beginning. And it's going to take a little bit to let people know, but we are very happy with Targets and the grocery stores, and some of the big box brands have kind of set the pace for us.
Sure. Tell me about this from a data perspective, because I imagine, being able to see what your customers are doing in the time that they're interacting with you, at least. But even just the engagement from the customer at all with this program, you must be collecting important data. How do you view this, I guess, from a data perspective, and what you can do with that for Teriyaki Madness?
Yeah, it's really helpful. We use it for our loyalty program quite a bit. So we're able to take the user experience and user journey of how people are ordering, what times of day, which days, are they coming in every Friday and getting the same thing, or are they, we haven't seen them in 60 days or 90 days. And so we're able to alter our messages quite a bit to different types of people to try and change behavior.
Gotcha. Yeah, I imagine it just feels like we're still like scratching the surface on what's possible with data, but I'm really amazed, especially by some of this geolocation data part of it, because I'm thinking to myself, well, when I engage with Target, I'm driving by 4 or 5 other retail, shops that I engage with, and it just feels like there is an opportunity here to learn a lot about my behaviors and my lifestyle, which again is a little creepy. But if you think about the things we've sacrificed as far as some of this goes, I think we're probably going to be willing to give over more of our privacy in this way if it means more deals, discounts, efficiencies, accessibility, right? It just seems like we're only scratching the surface, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, that helps us manage consumers' expectations. So if we're telling them their food's going to be ready at, in 17 minutes, and they decide on the way to stop at Target or gas station or whatever, and they are going to be late or early, we're able to help manage that. And see that they're not going to be there right away on our end, and we can wait to fill that drink so that the ice isn't melting. Or if they're going to be late, we can look at the map and see why. Like, oh, they're in Target. So
Yeah.
it is a little creepy, but very useful.
Yeah, but to that point, I mean, your employee part of this, right? There's some training. I imagine you have to get your employees up to speed on how all of this works. But the technology, is it just giving them alarms and beeps and boops when things are ready to go? How does it work from the employee side?
Pretty much. We actually tested this throughout 2023. We
Okay.
rolled it out in the first half of the year to all the shops. And because this is so important for us, we actually sent our business coaches and trainers out to every single shop to roll it out to make sure that every team member, not just the cashier, is trained on it. So again, it's going to be a little bit before everyone gets it, but the shops who are doing it well, they love it. And the cashiers love it. It's really easy. On their end, they do get an alert on the screen that just blinks with no noise at first. If the customer is about 2 minutes away, that tells the cashier, like, okay, I need to start getting their bag ready or make sure the kitchen's done with it, fill the drink, whatever. And then it does have an audible ding and flashes on the screen when the customer is driving into the parking lot. So that's
Mhm.
the cue for the cashier, grab the food, run out so that we're there before the customer arrives.
Got it. What is the return on this investment then? Because I imagine, again, you're doing this for speed of service. You imagine this, you're doing this for accessibility for your customer, of course, creating a better customer experience. How do you see measuring the success of Mad Dash?
Couple ways. So one, over time, we hope to increase frequency. If we're making it super easy for people to get food and really convenient and really fast, our goal is that we are in their consideration set when they're on their way home or on their way to a game or whatever it is. So we do hope to increase the frequency and traffic. Long term, though, we're also hoping to take a share back from delivery orders.
Mm,
As inflation has gone up and as delivery fees have gone up, and it's really expensive to order delivery as a consumer. I've done it.
yeah.
You do it, and you're like, holy cow, can't do that again.
Right.
And so if we can get people to realize, well, I'll just order directly from Captain Madness, it's, lower menu prices, there's no delivery fee, and I can have my food faster than a drive-through. That's a huge piece for us. And then the shops have no commission to the delivery partners. So
Mm.
that's why we're trying to, bring some of that share back in house, but provide a really good customer experience.
That's such a great point about taking that share back from delivery, because it seems like at this point there's no denying that third-party delivery is here to stay, will be a major part of business going forward. Because a couple of years ago, I think there was some like, let's get through the pandemic and then figure this out. Well, no more. We figured it out. It's here to stay. But I like that because it's sort of taking some of that power back and accepting that they can be here, but maybe just a smaller part of what you guys
Yeah,
are doing.
exactly.
Yeah. So you said something before, which I thought was really important, which is you said that for the last couple of years, maybe curbside's been kind of forgotten about. I think that's important because it felt like in 2020, 2021, as we had this shift to off premises everything, it was drive-through, of course. It was delivery for sure, but there was a lot of attention on curbside. You started to see some of these, prototype plans come up from some of the big chains about their, well, here's our 4 drive-through lanes, and then we're going to have this, section for the curbside, and then we'll have this walk-up window. And I mean, who knows if any of those ever came to pass? I think they ended up kind of doing more realistic versions. But I agree with you that there has not been a lot of that attention on curbside quite as there has been on drive-through. Is that a real estate thing? I mean, tell me why you think industry-wide curbside hasn't been as invested in as much.
I think there was a very clear answer actually, and it was right after COVID or during, but towards the end, when there was a huge employee issue and we
Uh-huh.
couldn't hire. And so we didn't have the labor anyway. I mean, so sometimes you would have like 1 or 2 people working at the shop. So that's when most restaurants said, well, we can't be doing curbside. I can't run the food out. I barely have enough staff to run the restaurant. And so that's
Mhm.
really the turning point where we started to see even our own shops for a while turning off curbside saying, I can't support this right now. And so the employee, we put a lot of effort into training programs and hiring and retention. And, those employee issues and labor issues, are still there, but they're in the background. They're very minor compared to what they were. And so we've been able to build it back up. But to me, that was the turning point was when everyone what?
Yeah, right. Well, because again, like, for me, I think of this from the real estate perspective. Everybody wanted to do drive-through, but there's only so many drive-throughs in America. There's only so much real estate. You can only have so many end caps. You can only have so many, out parcels that give you that drive-through opportunity. Whereas curbside, not that you can do it anywhere, but there is an ability to do it a lot more easily, right? You just kind of need parking spots, right? So yeah, tell me about that. So how does it really work for? I mean, do you just need like the road in front of the restaurant essentially?
Pretty much because we're using this technology that is different from any other brand. So even other brands who are using it aren't doing it in this way, where we're trying to literally be standing on the curb before they pull up. So in all of our new leases in the last several years, we mandate that we get 2 parking spots in front of the shop. But even if we don't, or even in tight parking lots, as long as the car can just stop, they don't need to get out. So as long as they can just stop right in front, we're there. I mean, it's like 10-second transaction, and we're on the way. So
Hmm.
it's been really great in some of our shops that have tight parking lots or just really awkward parking where they don't have a spot. They don't even have really a curb. And so
Hmm.
it's actually been more beneficial in some of those shops because it's an added way to get the food.
Right. This is a little bit of an aside, but I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. When I go to Target for pickup, which is frequent, I have small kids who constantly need all the things,
Everything.
everything. I am at most one of 4 cars in those pickup spots, and I
Mhm.
swear my Target has at least 20 parking spots for pickup. And I think this is a lot of about a lot of businesses. You got that 1 or 2, it's got a sign that says 10-minute pickup, whatever
Yeah.
kind of sign in front of it, and there's never cars.
Yeah.
Maybe that's up my own neighborhood, but I mean, do you see sometimes it's like maybe businesses have these opportunities and they're just not their customers just not using it. I'm just curious what you think about that.
Yeah, but I mean, as a consumer myself, I find that I don't use it. I just decide to run in. And I think there's a difference too, where there's the quick parking, 10-minute parking, you can run in and you have to still run in and pick it up,
Right. True.
um, versus, what we're doing, or we're running it out. So,
Mm,
yeah, I think it's just shift in consumer behavior. And probably some of the brands like Target and some of the other brands just not pushing that service as much as they used to.
Right. Yeah, I'm just curious. I maybe someday Target will pull back some of those parking spots and get them back to active parking. So shifting gears to marketing a little bit here, because you are chief marketing officer. I'm curious about this from a marketing perspective because I feel like off premises. I mean, here's this opportunity where your food is going out a lot more than customers are coming in for it. And so to me, it seems like that maybe is a natural marketing opportunity that, you're sending your food out into the community in some way. Now, granted, it's with the customers, but I don't know. I like to think.
Yeah,
Tell me about that from a marketer's perspective, how you approach the off premises channels and how you can kind of work with those.
for sure. I mean, there's I guess the obvious marketing pieces with bag stuffers and messages in their bags so that they know, it's a sticker on the bowl or they know about some of the promotion we're doing, with the goal of increasing return visits. Our one of our best off-premise programs, though, is catering. And because we know from our own research that the number one thing our customers love about our food is the flavor and the taste. They just say it's craveable, it's different. I don't make it at home. And so we know if we get food in people's mouths, they get it, and it's like sampling, and then they come in and try us or order. So catering for us is great because if we're catering for 10 or 100 or 500 people, chances are a lot of them have never tried us before. And so it is, the best kind of sampling there is and the best marketing where they get to taste it and they come in. So our catering program has been growing over 100% quarter over quarter for the last 5 quarters. And then we just looked at a stat that 45% of our fastest growing or highest growing uh, shops also have the most amount of catering. So we know that
Mm,
it's working from a marketing standpoint because they're not only growing catering, it's growing their regular business.
that's interesting. So do you spend a lot of time trying to build the catering business and get more clients?
We do. It really started to pick back up in, I'd say, quarter 4 of like 2021, and
Hmm.
really started taking off in 2022, 23 and beyond. So a lot of it's word of mouth, but we use uh, a program that's basically like cold calling for catering, to let car dealerships and businesses and all kinds of places know that we have this. And it's really easy to book, quite honestly, once people know we have it. People are always looking, especially in offices, for easy and new ideas to feed employees.
Sure. All right. So traffic today, you've probably thought about this a lot. Traffic is tough. The
Yeah.
whole industry really dealing with it, and so that's become a marketing problem. Which is how do you draw people into your restaurants? Broadly speaking, tell me about traffic at Teriyaki Madness. How you got what's been the trend for you, and what are some things you're using as a marketer to try to increase that traffic?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is the talk of the industry. We talk about it every single day internally. Our traffic drops have been similar to the industry, so we kind of follow the same patterns. Although our sales are higher than what industry is showing, so we're happy about that. But we're really focused on our loyalty program. Um, I've always had a theory and a strategy with discounting. I've always said I don't want to be like that Bath and Beyond. I don't want to train our consumers to all come in, with coupons. And so
Hmm.
we're fairly strategic with that as far as how many we send out. I would rather use our loyalty program to push people to earn their discounts, rather than just pushing out coupons. And actually, I think Technomic just last week put something out showing that coupon redemption is down in the industry, but loyalty programs are still going strong. So we really
Hmm.
want to, push people to earn it. We do a lot of different, we call them sprints, visit X amount of times in this time period and you get bonus points. Or we'll push out a special for extra points on certain days, whether it's a holiday or, a slower day of the week. So we kind of use it
Sure.
to help, um, well, push them in on change their consumer behavior to work for us.
Sure. Is there any way in which, building this relationship with your loyalty customers, especially? I mean, there's ways to incentivize certain behaviors. I mean, do you have ways in which you incentivize? Does it ever make sense, I guess, to incentivize the off premises behavior, to incentivize the curbside behavior? Do you reward for those kinds of things?
Well, we're actually using it right now. So, because we've been testing it and we've been slowly launching it, and now actually 2 weeks ago, on July 9th, I believe, is when we really launched our Mad Dash Curbside program. We're doing Mad Dash Mondays. Monday's typically a slower day of the week, and so we're doing a discount specifically for those who order curbside. It's $2 off your order, but only when you order Mad Dash, to try and
Hmm.
get them to have it, get them to try it. We're also doing free delivery Tuesdays, which we've done the last couple summers, and those work well for us as well.
I love that. I mean, you're again to your point earlier, like you don't want to just train them in coming for the discount. You want to train them in building that engagement and earning that discount, to your point. And so it seems like you're kind of doing that around the edges. I can't help but think about, 2011, 12, 13, when a lot of companies that did discounting in the recession to get customers back couldn't pull back from that. They had
Right.
no means of coming out of discounting because that's what the expectation they built for their customers. I just imagine that, 2024, is going to be soft, 25, who knows how long, but like inflation seems to have peaked. Just seems like maybe in the next year or two, we get back to business as usual. And at that point, if you haven't built some of these things that you're talking about, where incentivizing certain behaviors and earning those discounts, then you're going to be kind of stuck in this discounting hole.
Yeah. And I talked to our franchisees a lot about that Bed Bath and Beyond example. I've been saying that for 8 years. I've been saying that well before they've had some bankruptcy issues.
Yeah.
Um, or the Kohl's model, where you have really high prices, but you're constantly saying, look, discounting, say, look how much you save. So yeah, I'm with you. I think in a year, 2 years, I think we're going to get back to normal. And the goal is to keep the brand top of mind now, and get through this and work as hard as we can to get people in the habit of coming in. Our frequency data shows if we can get them in 3 times in 6 weeks, we kind of got them. And so it's a big goal by
It makes a lot of sense. All right, so Jody, last question for you. Just looking ahead for the future for Teriyaki Madness, both in off-premises innovation and what you guys are doing with curbside and other channels. But for you as a marketer, what's ahead for this brand? What are you excited about?
Really, everything we are talking about, any new technology, number one, has to be integrated with everything we have. But it's really about giving customers a better experience. And so, even when we're talking back of house, labor saving ideas, the goal is so that we could free up labor, to shift it to the front of house to give a better experience. Because with things as expensive as they are now, I think consumers are just a little bit more cautious with where they spend their dollars. And
Yeah.
if you have a bad experience and you're paying up the nose for it, you're not coming back. And so that's, customer experience is number one. And then the technology that we're constantly looking at for the future is just how do we make it easier to order, faster to pick up, easier on our employees to make, just on the execution side of it. So yeah, easier, faster, and better experiences is what we're all about.
Very exciting. Well, I will watch as a customer as well, again, with my local Teriyaki Madness. So, Jody, thank you so much for your time today. I
Yeah,
really
thanks,
appreciate it.
Dale. I appreciate it. Nice talking to you.
That was my interview with Teriyaki Madness's Jody Boyce. So, what should you learn from this interview? Here are my 6 takeaways. My first takeaway is that curbside is a perfectly suitable alternative to drive-thru. Drive-thru has gotten a lot of buzz lately, certainly has been buzzy for, well, probably 60 years or so now. But the last 5, 6 years, of course, everybody wants a drive-thru. New technologies for ordering, mobile apps, all of that has made drive-thru far more appealing now because of the way it can provide an efficient and very accessible experience to your guests. But not everybody can have a drive-thru. There's only so many drive-thrus that can go around. There's only so much real estate that can hold a drive-thru. So drive-thrus are at a premium today. Why not consider curbside? this was Jody's point. She talked about curbside, how, for a little bit there early in the pandemic, everybody was talking about curbside and the potential of curbside because it became a requirement, especially for full service restaurants, didn't have a drive-through. In order to facilitate safe transactions in COVID, curbside became a good alternative to get your food into customers' hands. And a lot of people were talking about curbside, the future, and how it was going to be a big part of the future for restaurants. Then that talk kind of died down. Drive-through took over. Everybody wants a drive-through. Delivery, third-party delivery especially, really kind of won the day there. And Jody made the point that curbside should be looked at. You should give a closer look to curbside because of the fact that it is an alternative to drive-through. Teriyaki Madness makes its bowls to order, and Jody pointed out that drive-through is not very conducive to that. They want to prepare these to order, and they have these fresh ingredients, and that takes time. That's why curbside for them makes a lot more sense. And not to mention, again, the real estate issues. If you can't find a drive-through location, well, you have a curb. You have a road in front of your restaurant probably, or some parking spots. So why not consider that? And with the technology that Teriyaki Madness has rolled out through their Mad Dash program, it makes curbside all the more appealing in how they can facilitate that made-to-order experience and still do so quickly. So just to put back top of mind, curbside pickup, if drive-throughs are not, maybe they're too expensive for your build out, maybe you can't find the right real estate, maybe you just don't know what you're doing with drive-through, why not consider curbside? It's a great alternative. My second takeaway is that technology makes curbside far faster and more efficient than drive-through. So again, the appeal of a curbside, is you don't have to have that lane around your restaurant and that pickup window for drive-through. You don't have to have all the other technologies necessary for making drive-through work. You really just need a curb. But you also should look at some of these new technologies out there that can help you run an efficient and fast curbside platform. So Jody walked through Mad Dash and how it works for Teriyaki Madness. And I love this. As I brought up in this interview, I am constantly interacting with retail in the way that I order on my phone, or my wife orders for me and tells me to go pick it up at Kroger or Target or whatever it is. And I press the button, I'm on my way, and I show up and I say I'm here, and they run it out to me, and it's great. Honest to goodness, I cannot tell you when I last stepped foot in a Target, because with the mobile app available to me, why bother? That is becoming more and more commonplace for customers. Therefore, this technology is perfect for restaurants who want to do curbside. You order through the Teriyaki Madness app, you say you're on your way, and then the restaurant can follow you to the restaurant. They can track where you are so that they can know when to fire the food, when to plate, when to bag, when to run it out, and do that with precision. This GPS technology, again, might seem a little kind of weird or creepy. It might have in the past, but the fact that we're all as consumers using it more and more and accepting that, we might, allow a retail business to see where I am. If it means I don't have to get out of my car and I can order and access my food very, very quickly. So this technology has really gotten to the point where it can do this with precision. Teriyaki Madness, the employees have gotten very good at this. They find that it really helps them to be more efficient at their jobs. And Jody says they get out to the curb. They try to get out to the curb about 10 seconds before the guest arrives. So think about that. You pull up to the curb and the employee is right there with your food, and off you go. Again, faster than drive-through. Some drive-thrus I'm sitting in for, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, depending on the restaurant. So you're going a lot faster, and for the restaurant, it's a lot more efficient. So again, I tell you, why not curbside? My third takeaway is that if you can't beat third-party delivery players, at least take some share from them. I really appreciated this, what Jody was saying about why curbside, why they're investing in this, and how they're really trying to create this great customer experience. But the line that I really particularly liked was how she said, this is an opportunity to bring some more business back into the restaurant. Teriyaki Madness accepts, yes, we'll be on the third-party delivery platforms so that whoever wants to order that way can do it. And of course, you can have the marketing through those platforms as well. But if you want to steal some of those dollars back and give your customers a better experience, then rolling out something like a curbside program will give them that alternative. So if I'm thinking, is it between curbside and delivery? Well, curbside is going to be cheaper because I don't have the delivery fees, and maybe I can rack up some loyalty points while I'm at it. That's going to be a lot more appealing than what I'm doing through the third-party delivery. So again, in Jody's perspective for Teriyaki Madness, this is taking some of those dollars back in-house, creating a better customer experience, keeping that data, all of that. It's a win-win-win for the restaurant in order to do that. You don't have to do that through curbside. Maybe it's through, regular pickup channels. Maybe it's through drive-thru, whatever it is. How can you take some of those dollars back from the third-party delivery players and take some of that market share? My fourth takeaway is that catering is another underappreciated off-premises channel. So again, most of our conversation here is about curbside and how maybe it could make a comeback here a few years after it kind of had a moment in the COVID era. But catering is another one that, if you haven't looked at, you should really give catering another look. Catering at Teriyaki Madness, Jody pointed out, some of the strongest restaurants in their system have some of the strongest catering sales, and that there's probably a good correlation there, because she said that their catering is growing a lot. The catering is exploding in sales at Teriyaki Madness, and it's doing some great marketing for them, exposing the brand to a lot more potential customers and getting the food out into the communities. Again, if you're looking for new channels of revenue beyond your standard dine-in pickup, maybe a drive-thru, consider building out a catering program that can, again, create some new revenue and another channel for revenue, but again, is also doing some of that marketing for you. My fifth takeaway is that you shouldn't pull a Bed Bath & Beyond with your discounting. Value is the name of the game today. Everybody's talking about value meals and discounting. And, this is bringing back memories of the recession, and the same thing happened. And a lot of brands could not pull out of that discounting. Once they lopped off some of the price from their menu items, they couldn't put it back on. Customers came to expect those low price points. And Jody made this point about Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm sure you know what she was talking about when she talked about those 20% off coupons that it seems like you got one in the mail every week. Bed Bath & Beyond was basically begging you to come to their stores and use one of those coupons. I'm sure you were like me and you just stashed a whole bunch of them, or you even just, when you went into Bed Bath & Beyond, you claimed you had one but lost it. They'd still give you the 20% off. Bed Bath & Beyond was stuck in a discounting rut. It could not get out of that. Now, in some ways, they built their business around it. You could also consider the fact that it kind of failed as a business, because that model is, again, it's hard to drive profit when you're constantly discounting. So the point that Jody was making here is you should not hand out discounts like crazy if you're trying to get your customers back in the doors. We all realize that that's tempting. It's really tempting to just push the button, send out the coupon, and in they come. Jody's point was more, you should make your guests earn their discounts through loyalty. How do you pull some of these levers that influence customer behavior and get them into your restaurant more frequently, so then they discover how much they love your brand, and then they start earning points, and then they get to that discount after a certain amount of points are accrued. That's the relationship you want to have with your guest, not a send them a mailer, get their attention, and get them in the restaurant. Because in a couple of years, you're going to find that you can't get out of that discounting. And that leads me to my sixth and final takeaway, which is frequency, not discounting, is the right tool to help you weather economic woes. The point Jody made toward the end of our interview is the fact that in the next year or two, the economy is going to get back to normal. Customers are going to get back to a place where, they're going to be spending again. Inflation will come down. And when we get there, do you want to still be discounting, or would you rather be driving profit? If you don't want to be stuck in that discounting hole, look for those ways, as I was saying before, to influence customer behavior, to, as Jody said, keep your brand top of mind so that they're coming into your restaurant more and more. They're accruing points through your loyalty program. Their frequency is up. They've built that relationship with your brand so that you don't have to essentially bribe them to come in with a discount. You'll weather this. You'll get through this. Don't get through this by discounting and setting your brand on the wrong foot for years to come. Do it in a proactive way that you can build that relationship with the guest. Those are all my takeaways for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to subscribe to Takeaway wherever you listen to podcasts and leave your feedback. You can also email me at sam.okus@informa.com. Thanks again, and talk to you next week.